Good afternoon. Welcome to Geist Christian Church. I'm Schuyler Brinson, the Minister of Music here at our Mud Creek campus. Welcome to those who are joining us online. Today we begin our second Lenten concert series. This series will feature 6 different programs presented by various musicians, and all the concerts will be in person and live streamed on Thursdays at 1 o'clock. If you go to our website, there's a Lent box, and if you click on that box, it'll take you to a page that lists all the happenings that are going on at the church during Lent. On there will be a concert box, I believe. If you click on that, it'll give you a complete listing of everyone who's playing on the series and a brief description about each of the concerts. So I hope you'll go out and take a look at that and invite some friends and neighbors to join us. On today's program, I'm going to share some hymn tunes that we typically sing during the Lenten season, some from Ash Wednesday, Palm Sunday, and Good Friday. The bookends of today's program will feature a trumpet tune, and the final piece will be a larger work by the Canadian composer Denis Bedard. The first piece, a festive trumpet tune, was written by David German. We don't know much about him as a composer and organist. This piece is his most well-known piece that we have. He dedicated it to his wife and wrote it for their wedding ceremony. It gained prominence in the organ repertoire later after it was performed by organist Dan Miller, who gave the inaugural performance of the new organ at Calvary Church in Charlotte, North Carolina. He played that piece as the first piece on that program, and that was where David served as the organist for many years. So this is David German's Festive Trumpet Tune. It's fun to have the organ out here. 1, it sounds different to me, and 2, you get to see what's happening. The next 2 pieces, the first one is a spiritual, Jesus Walked This Lonesome Valley, an arrangement by composer Dale Wood. And the second one will be the Palm Sunday hymn, Hosanna, Loud Hosanna, arranged by Michael Burkhart. You might recognize the melody of the second one, we sing it to the hymn, I Sing the Mighty Power of God. This arrangement is very playful, and I think it reflects the text of the hymn as it talks about children singing and waving palm branches as Jesus makes his triumphal entry into Jerusalem. The next set of pieces are both on the softer meditative side. And I think they both capture as we take the time to reflect on the sacrifice that Jesus made on our behalf. The first is the hymn, What Wondrous Love Is This? It's an Appalachian folk hymn, and this arrangement is by John Carter. The second piece is an African-American spiritual, Were You There? This arrangement by Clay Christensen has a lot of dissonant chords in it, and it provides tension and then resolution. In the beginning of the piece, you hear the familiar melody, and then as the piece begins to build, the composer repeats a musical phrase or a question. Were you? Were you? Were you there? As this question is repeated and finally reaches the climactic point of the piece, I think it represents the shouts and cries from the crowd as Jesus hung on the cross. Suddenly, after it continues to build, there is silence. And then very softly, for the final time, we hear that question, that musical phrase, Were you there when they crucified my Lord? The final piece on today's short program is entitled Rhapsodie, and it's by the Canadian composer, organist Denis Bedard. This piece is based on a theme that is stated at the very beginning. You'll hear it first in the pedal, and that becomes the phrase and theme that will be used throughout the entire piece. He will develop it over the course of the piece. After that initial statement, you'll hear a nice melodic lyrical line with these really thick chords accompanying that solo line of that statement we just heard. Once that is finished, then the fun begins. So he takes that melody and he writes a fugue. A fugue is a contrapuntal composition, contrapuntal being a piece of music that has two or more melodies, melodic lines going on. So he takes that and takes that short melody or phrase and introduces it in one part or one voice, and then continually adds on other voices and begins to interweave the parts together. This melody and phrase is always in there, so your job is to see if you can find it all the time. As this fugue continues to develop, he cycles through numerous keys. And there's a lot of crunchy, tight chords that may not sound normal, but then there's resolution within there. The piece continues to build until he finally states that little phrase that we heard one last time in the pedal, and the piece comes to a very big end. It calls for the full resources of the organ, from some of the softest to everything we've got to share, and it also is a very technically challenging piece, as a lot of Bedard's pieces are, but they're fun to learn, and I hope you enjoy his Rhapsodie. It's definitely a workout, but it's fun. And you got to see all the fun stuff happening. At least I think it's fun. Well, thank you for coming, and thank you for joining us online today. Again, these will be for the next, got 5 more after today. Pastor Ryan will join me next week. We will do another installment of Hymns and Stories, and Ryan will look at seven different hymns, Lenten hymns, and Ryan will narrate the program for us, sharing information about the composers, how they were written, the text writers. So I hope you will come back and join us at 1 o'clock for that program. Again, thank you, and God's blessings as you go on your day. Thank you.